we have for a snack?
Mom, we're hungry! Hey, I don't think Mom's home yet.
Well, why don't we make our own snack, okay? I think there's some bread left.
I'll make us some sandwiches.
Oh, no, we can't possibly eat this bread.
But why not?
Look at it.
Ugh! It's all moldy.
Oh, well, I guess we'll have to wait until Mom comes back before we can have our snack.
Let's watch television.
We can do better than that. I know. Why don't we look at this moldy bread under the microscope?
But I thought that mold was dangerous. I thought it was poison.
It's true that certain molds are toxic, but molds can also be used to make medicines that can help people.
How can you make medicine with mold? I wouldn't like to take a mold pill, would you?
Well, it's true. In fact, there's a very important medicine made from mold, penicillin.
Penicillin?
I know. Let's ask Jeannie to tell us. I remember the man who discovered penicillin was called Alexander Fleming.
Here I come! Whee! You're right. It was Fleming who discovered penicillin. But other scientists helped as well.
Who were they?
How did they do it?
I'm going to tell you how Fleming and others made this fantastic discovery and how important it was and still is. Let's go! In 1914, World War I broke out. Men fought all over Europe. So much shooting, blood, and tears. It was really horrible. Oh my God, why can't you all stop fighting? Oh! Wounded soldiers were transported to military hospitals, but these hospitals weren't all that well equipped. One of these hospitals was in Boulogne in France, and doctors worked around the clock to ease the suffering of the wounded. Hey! And this is Dr. Alexander Fleming, who was part of that team of doctors.
Oh, he's too seriously wounded.
Doctor, we were hit by rocket fire and he was hit hardest. Please try to help him.
Oh, is it bad? He must have picked up a lot of shrapnel. I'll do everything I can to save him, but his wound is very deep and it's infected. Infected? Not already. Microbes have slipped into the wound. They've infected it, and in that area, the flesh is beginning to decompose. There's just no way of maintaining minimum hygiene standards at the front, and that's why so many men die of infection.
Doctor, isn't there any way of stopping the infection? There must be a medicine that can kill the microbes and save our friend's life.
I'll try using an antiseptic. Give me the phenol, quickly!
This is a bottle of phenol.
The phenol doesn't help. The infection is too advanced. If only we'd been able to amputate the infected leg in time, we could have saved him.
But the majority of wounded soldiers were too seriously hurt to be saved when they arrived at the hospital in Boulogne.
But doctors are supposed to save human lives.
This war is horrible. Thousands of wounded soldiers arrive at the hospital, and I have no way of saving them.
Don't be discouraged, Dr. Fleming. You did everything that was in your power, right? Unfortunately, it doesn't do much good to clean out infected wounds with phenol, does it?
No, Jeannie, it's not nearly sufficient to fully clean them out.
But Dr. Fleming, the phenol should kill the microbes on the wound.
In any case, that's what should happen, and yet it doesn't prevent the infection spreading. I've got to study this further. Look. I've taken a sample from the wound. Those rod-like things are microbes. They're responsible for the infection.
What are these little white fluffy things?
Those are white blood corpuscles. They devour the microbes that manage to enter our body. They protect us.
But when there are too many microbes, the white corpuscles can't fight them. They can't carry out their role as defenders of our organism. Ah! Doctor, I need the phenol! Hurry! That takes care of that. But not only are the microbes dead, so are the white corpuscles, and I feel so dizzy.
Now I understand what happens. The phenol destroys the microbes, but it kills the white corpuscles at the same time. What's more, it's only effective externally.
In that case, what we have to find is a new sort of medicine capable of chasing the microbes in the organism and destroying them. After the war, Fleming continued his research, hoping to discover just such a medicine. Call this a laboratory? It's not very big, is it? Not very modern either.
I can't be too demanding, and besides, it's more than I need to continue my work.
Hey, what's this stuff?
These are microbe cultures.
Microbes?
Look at them through the microscope, Jeannie.
Okay. Are they what kill people?
Exactly. And what I'm trying to find is a medicine capable of destroying them without danger to the human body. Achoo!
Achoo! I think we're both catch cold.
Oh my, I forgot to put the cover back on again.
Believe it or not, this harmless cold was going to play a big part in Dr. Fleming's work.
Why, this is the dish over which I sneezed. Is it possible? The microbes have completely disappeared. That's very strange. Now I understand.
No, Doctor! What are you doing? Let me go! What? No! No! Ah!
Thank you for your cooperation.
Fleming discovered that nasal mucus and human tears contained an element that killed microbes. This element was called lysozyme. He found the same element in egg whites and in saliva, only lysozyme wasn't powerful enough to eliminate microbes in an already sick organism. Hey, Mr. Lysozyme, you're not putting up a very good fight, are you? All right, break it up, you hear? Scat, microbes! You're in bad shape. You should do some exercise.
We absolutely must find something much more powerful than that.
Oh, another one's gone moldy. I'll throw it out.
Just a second. Look at that. There are no more microbes around the mold. Do you realize that we just might have found the solution?
Mold a solution? That's impossible.
Fleming left no stone unturned in conducting his research. He had already discovered lysozyme in human tears.
It's just as I thought. This mold is powerful enough to destroy the microbes.
Would you like me to show you exactly what happened that day in Dr. Fleming's laboratory, huh? Good! Then let's have a closer look. Usually, the recipients used for microbe cultures are equipped with a cover, but these covers are often removed for closer study or to perform an experiment. I'll show you. Come with me. Ready? Here we are. Now, in order to understand what happened that day, let's take a peek into the world of the microscope. Yoo-hoo! Although they're not visible to the naked eye, the world is full of tiny microbes and dust particles. A mold particle fell into this microbe culture recipient and began to multiply. There are 650 different kinds of mold, but only a few of them are capable of killing microbes. One of them is called Penicillin, and by chance it was that one which fell into one of the recipients in Dr. Fleming's laboratory. And this particular mold can be made into what we call a culture medium. There, that's what it looks like.
Even when we dilute the culture 600 times, it remains effective and destroys the microbes.
I'm a real champion.
You sure are, buddy. But without Dr. Fleming's research, no one would have ever known your strength. Fleming then experimented by injecting the culture medium into a healthy rat. And there were no negative effects. Hooray!
The results are fantastic.
For the first time, you've succeeded in isolating this mold.
This is a letter from Tom. He's a famous American scientist studying mold. He says that my name is Penicillium.
Penicillium? That's an awfully difficult name to say.
I know. I'll call the medicine which comes from the mold penicillin. It should be a little easier to pronounce.
That's more like it. Penicillium was able to prevent microbes from developing, and it killed them.
Sorry I'm late, Doctor. I slept very badly last night.
You don't look too well.
The laboratory is always so cold and humid. I must have caught something.
I have an idea.
Fleming administered penicillin to his assistant every 3 hours and ended up curing him.
And thus I was able to verify its effectiveness.
What do you think of his discovery?
It's wonderful, but
it's impossible to use penicillin on a regular basis.
But why?
do you actually think it's possible to cultivate massive quantities of mold?
Such a cure can only be effective if we can develop a pure penicillin, a real medicine. Don't you see, it's the only solution.
Now I get it. The next important step is for Dr. Fleming to work on a truly pure penicillin that can be produced in mass quantities. The job of industrially manufacturing his discovery was not Fleming's task. 12 years later, in an office at Oxford University in England, this conversation took place.
Dr. Florey, have you read this article?
Yes, it was written by Fleming on penicillium 12 years ago.
That means that Fleming never succeeded in producing penicillin in mass quantities. But such a discovery must be developed. If we can succeed, we'll have done the world a great service.
You're absolutely right, Chain. Let's get down to work. In time and with patience, we're bound to succeed.
Let's hope so.
And that day, Professor Chain, a pathologist, and Professor Florey, a biochemist, got together and continued studying penicillin. It wasn't an easy job, far from it, but they managed to produce a highly concentrated penicillin extract, and they proved its ability to combat bacteria. In 1941, at the hospital in Oxford. Chain and Florey injected penicillin into a patient for the very first time. The doctors were very pessimistic. They knew that the patient might not survive.
Dr. Chain, don't you think you should calm down?
Oh, so you think I'm more nervous than you are? You're perfectly relaxed, are you? By the way, Dr. Florey, would you mind telling me where you bought such an original pair of shoes?
Gentlemen, hurry!
What is it?
The patient! The one to whom you gave the injection!
Is he? I'm cured, thank heaven.
I don't know how to thank you. Everyone said his case was hopeless and you saved his life. It's a miracle.
Thank you, Doctor. I've come a long way back, thank you.
Continue the treatment.
But Dr. Florey, I would, gladly, only I'm afraid there isn't enough penicillin left.
Yes, the incredible effectiveness of penicillin had now been proven. But, unfortunately, the doctors didn't have penicillin available in sufficient quantities to continue the treatment, and the patient died. In 1939, World War II broke out. London was bombarded every night. And all of Europe was threatened by the three Axis powers: Hitler's Germany, Mussolini's Italy, and Hirohito's Japan. In order to be able to continue his research, Florey left for America, which had not yet entered the war. With the results of his research in hand, the study of penicillin continued in the United States.
Hey, Mary! Hey, Mary Mold! Come over here.
Hello.
Mary, you're very lucky. We've got a real treasure for you today.
I kept it especially for you.
Oh, that's a wonderful mold.
Tell me, what in the world do you do with all this moldy fruit you come for every day? Do you collect them?
Oh, I've been meaning to ask you, Mary. Doesn't it make you angry that everyone calls you Mary Mold?
No, why should it make me angry? I think that Mary Mold is a nice name. Well, so long. See you tomorrow.
Would you mind telling me why you like that name so much?
I like my name because I like my work.
You're that crazy about mold?
Our laboratory is trying to find a new variety of penicillium, which will be more effective and which can be produced in large quantities.
And so your work consists of producing penicillium cultures and seeing which ones multiply fastest.
That's right. You see, many children and soldiers suffer from pneumonia and other infections, and we're unable to save them. Jeannie, stop fluttering about like that. It makes the dust go flying.
Oops, sorry. To avoid contamination, you've got to work under very clean conditions, which is why scientists wear special clothes. To keep the dust from circulating. Penicillium chrysogenum notatum was discovered on the melon that Mary brought back, and it's from that mold that we extract the penicillin we use today. On the morning of August 5th, 1942, Florey, who had returned to Oxford, received a telephone call.
Yes, this is Dr. Florey. Oh, Dr. Fleming!
The news wasn't good. A close friend of Dr. Fleming was dying of meningitis. Meningitis is a very serious illness in which the microbes attack the nervous system and can cause death.
I've done everything possible, but his condition keeps getting worse.
He won't last more than a day or two. If we could only try using penicillin.
Florey responded to Fleming's call by gathering all the penicillin he had on hand and left for London. And so, years after his discovery, Fleming was personally rewarded.
Thank you, my friend. It was good of you to come.
Fleming injected the penicillin directly into the spinal column.
The treatment could be fatal. But I have no choice. It's the only possible chance left to save his life.
And 1 week later...
Dr. Fleming.
You're still in convalescence. You should be in bed resting.
But I feel so wonderful, Doctor. It's a beautiful day. If not for you, I'd never have seen it. I don't know how to thank you, Dr. Fleming. You saved my life.
I'm not the only one you have to thank. You must thank Dr. Florey, Dr. Chain, and so many others who worked and perfected penicillin.
From then on, the healing powers of penicillin were universally recognized. Other research followed to produce penicillin in larger quantities, and the lives of millions of people were saved. Before penicillin was discovered, the slightest infection of a wound risked attacking the entire organism, often causing death. This boy's simple cold developed into pneumonia. Without the aid of penicillin, he wouldn't have survived. Even Winston Churchill, the Prime Minister of England, was saved by this great discovery. He was dying of pneumonia until he was given a series of penicillin shots, which saved his life.
I'm fit as a fiddle.
In recognition of this important medical discovery, Fleming, Florey, and Chain were awarded the Nobel Prize for Medicine in 1945.
The discovery of penicillin was really an important discovery, wasn't it?
Before we had penicillin, microbes would just keep multiplying and spreading throughout the entire body, even from a slight bruise. Nobody knew how to stop them, and lots of people died.
I'm sure glad penicillin was born before I was.
You're not the only one. But don't forget that even though medicine has made great progress, you should always see a doctor and not try to cure yourself.
Even with penicillin?
Yes, because if you use it in doses that are too high, it might not have the same effect, and it could be dangerous. It's the same for all medicines. Something helpful can be harmful if you misuse it. Got that?
I understand.
Me too.
Goodbye. See you soon.
Do you realize what would have happened if that little bit of mold had fallen somewhere else instead of into Dr. Fleming's recipient?
I guess penicillin might never have been discovered. I had no idea how important and useful mold could be.
Wait a second, that's not all. Look at this!
What is it, Alex?
These are tanks in which penicillium is produced in mass quantities.
Mold is also used for making cheese?
Yes, that's right. Penicillium is used for making some cheeses, like blue cheese and camembert.
I've learned a lot about mold. Oh no!
What's the matter?
We've got to make sure that Mom doesn't throw out the moldy bread.
Why not?
Because I might just discover a new medicine, you never know.
You're really too much. You know what? I'm gonna start calling you Mary Mold.
Oh, who left this moldy bread in the cupboard? That's awful.
Mary Mold got caught.